Hello, everyone. This is our video about the apps that we've been using for homeschooling over the past 6 months or so. And I also want to show you that there's a great way to make a video just like this. It's to use Zoom. Everyone's using Zoom probably for talking to their friends while we're all hidden from each other in coronavirus land. But you can also just record a video in your own Zoom room and then share that with people. That's what I did here, so you can see us, and then you can also see my screen, because I'm sharing my screen, right? All right, who do we have in our video? I am Robby, this is?
Atticus.
And this is? And you don't care about that. What you care about is our recommendations. Over the past 6 months, homeschooling, since we started sabbatical here in Singapore, the kids have been using many different apps. The first I'd like to mention is Epic. It's a great app with a ton of books, mostly graphic novels, worth the membership for us. You guys still use Epic, right?
Yeah.
All the time.
You're
If we won't let them play games, they're like, oh, can we use Epic? And we often say yes. Next, I'm going to talk about some shows. Brainchild, excellent show on Netflix. What's it about? Stuff that's interesting. Science concepts, psychology concepts. It's mostly psychology from a scientific perspective, and the narrator's great. So we really like that. In some ways, it feels like a modern day Bill Nye, but more psychological. Next, also on Netflix, Storybots. Storybots ask some biology questions, scientific questions. Atticus and Thilo are elementary age, so it's been pretty good for them, I think. And Storybots, but I think we like Brainchild a little bit more. Yes or no? Yes?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Next, Our Planet. You've probably heard of this one. It's all about, well, the Earth.
It's really long.
We love the Earth. It is our planet. We love the Earth. It is our home. And if you get that reference, rock on. Hi, I'm an investigator. No, I'm not, but these people are on Netflix. What are the investigators? Quick, people don't want to watch you say detectives. They solve little mysteries. And they talk like this, except better, because they're actually British. They're Australian, says cheating. But anyway, it's well done. It's very cute. And it is a thinker kind of kids TV show. Of course, we've got the classic on Netflix, Magic School Bus. There's a modern remake of that, which we...
It's Miss Frizz's kid sister.
Is it? The remake? Oh, nice. Do you like the original or the remake more? Original? Thilo, what about you? Remake, same thing. All right, next we're going to move to podcasts, which are great because there's no screen. Well, there's a screen, but you don't have to look at it, and you still get the content. Audio, Wow in the World, one of our favorites from NPR with excellent hosting, really exciting episodes. I don't even know what they look like until I'm looking at the screen right now, but they totally look like they sound. Perky and funny and intelligent and creative, and they ask questions. Just like many of NPR's podcasts, of which I'm a fan, they ask questions that you might not have thought of before, creative, interesting questions, often scientific or related to our current world, etc. So I definitely endorse that one. I also endorse Brains On. I don't know who, oh, it's NSF supported, nice. Minnesota Public Radio, so it's also a public radio show about scientific concepts, but not quite as like silly, but still very good.
What's this?
This is Brains On. You like Brains On? Yeah. What do you like more, Brains On or Wow in the World? You like Wow in the World more? Okay. We flipped back and forth. I think you guys have been pretty even on the two of them, right? But yeah, This American Life, a podcast not just for kids, but still quite interesting. It's for adults. Yeah, I said not just for kids. Interesting, especially for older kids. There are concepts. Maybe a future episode of this channel that we're starting, we'll talk about some of our favorite episodes that are digestible for kids. We like 100 Humans. Oh, I forgot to write that in our Science and Make You Think shows. Did you cut it? I must have. Okay. It is more for grown-ups. It has some grown-up-y concepts in there. That's on Netflix. All right, moving on to coding games. And Codable, one of our favorites. Yeah. One of our favorites, Codable. Well, which of these is our favorite? We have Codable, CodeSpark, Tinker, and Scratch Junior. Tinker? Tinker's new, so it might be one of your favorites. The thing about Codable, CodeSpark, and Tinker is they kind of take you through levels. And so you're guided in your coding concepts as you learn them. Scratch Junior actually is my favorite because it's totally open-ended. It's kind of like a Minecraft environment with coding. But in all of them, you're solving puzzles essentially and learning coding concepts at the same time. Got to dig that. So yeah, I just mentioned Scratch Junior, made by MIT Media Lab, also Scratch, but Scratch doesn't have an app. Scratch Junior does have an app, which makes it a little more accessible. CodeSpark or CodeSpark Academy here, just like Codable and Tinker give you, here's Tinker's page, kind of give you a structure to learn coding concepts pretty slowly. You know, move this object over here, now move it around a thing. And it abstracts away from the concept in a way that makes you think about writing code and then seeing the code run instead of just pushing go and having the character move around. But it is very similar to gaming in that regard. And I see here Tinker has free premium coding during school closures, which is nice. And oh, here we go. Slice fractions. Didn't I throw? Okay, there we go. Slice fractions. So we're moving on to math games. This is the
slice
sequel.
fractions too.
Yeah, which one do you like more? One or two?
One. Two.
Two or one? Okay. Well, I think both of them are great. You guys finished these games, right?
Yeah, I deleted them because they were taking up space.
All right. Yes, you like to delete games when you're done. I think it's a great game for learning fractions, and it does a good job of, again, taking you through the levels. Monster Math is another game that has multiple in the series. You hate it?
Yeah, I do.
It's got a narrative. You gotta you're a little monster and you're defeating things. There's also
But you have to spit out the candy.
There's Math Rescue, Math Balance. These are all part of the same series. Pearl Diver. This one I found because I realized that number lines are really good for learning. Oh, I should be showing screenshots here. Number lines are great for learning negative numbers, for fractions, decimals, etc. So this game is NSF supported. It's not the best game in the world in terms of gameplay. It's a one-shot game. I think some researchers who study games, probably like me, made it. And in terms of a math game, it's quite good for just teaching the concept. But you might get frustrated once you start to lose, even you adults. And so I would say give it some patience. Switch between that game and another game. Quantum 3, I totally forgot to put up in my tabs here, but this is a great game for learning about quantum physics. Yes, developed by our very own MSU Gel Lab, which I'm affiliated, full disclosure. And I actually spoke to the people who wanted to make this game early on and watched it being made. So if you want to learn a little bit about quantum physics, this is a good game. It also teaches math concepts. No, not watching video. We got to move fast. There's so many apps. All right, we're moving to the right. Moving on to music games. Rhythm Cat. Rhythm Cat, like Rhythm Rabbit, which is the next game, are really good at teaching rhythm. Reading music, though, it's essential for reading music. These guys know how to read. What do you read? What are you reading in these? What does that mean? That thing right there. Not just music. What does that mean? The note.
It's a 3 note.
It's a 3 beat. Yes. Or a quarter note. All right. Very good. Rhythm. I don't want to open iTunes. Oh, Rhythm Rabbit is not opening. Rhythm Rabbit is similar to Rhythm Cat, but Rhythm Cat is a better game. Rhythm Rabbit teaches the same thing and is easier to get into, but just like Diver, you can't really go very far in that game without getting a little frustrated. Whereas Rhythm Cat, there's a free light version. You can try it out and then try Rhythm Cat regular. There are tons of levels. It gets quite hard. It ends up being 2 buttons, so then it's almost like you're reading music with multiple notes. Simply Piano by Joytune. So is this one that has... it has lessons. You can use the keyboard on a lot of these piano apps. Do a great job of allowing you to read the piano on the app itself or on the keyboard. Philo, do you like using the keyboard, like or piano at home with the app, or do you like using it on the app itself? Do you have a preference?
I haven't used it on the app.
Okay. Yeah. So some of these
I have.
you have.
Better.
It's better on the app itself. Often because the kids can cheat. They'll like sing the note, and it'll hear it, and then it'll. Yeah, so I don't like it. Some of these apps do let you cheat. Piano by Yoki. This is another good one. Also, This is, I think, entirely on the app, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not like reading real music, though, unfortunately. It's more like DDR, but modern day DDR. So Guitar Hero, but with a piano. Sorry for the background noise. The twins are playing with Duplos. Mozilla. This one, it does teach you to read notes in music, which is good. But then you can also, no, it's not bad, but it also gives you points for listening to instruments and determining which instrument just played the sound, which is a little bit easy. I'd rather just focus on learning notes. But it's a nice break from what can be difficult for kids, right? Learning those notes. Note Quest. We haven't played this one too much, but it looks similar. I didn't pay to get beyond the early levels, but this is focused on piano and learning hand placement. You played it. You totally played this. You guys got through the first 5 levels and stopped. Magic Tiles. This will not teach you much about playing piano, but it is more like DDR. And I think you can download new songs, right? So you can play popular songs. So at the very least, it's teaching kids a bit of rhythm, even if they're not learning music. All right, now we're getting into puzzle games. As someone who studies educational video games in research papers I've written, I make the argument that even if they're not made for education, they often can teach you valuable educational concepts or education-related concepts, informal learning. Monument Valley is one of those. Not only is it beautiful and fun to play, you have to learn to persist through this challenging world. There's spatial rotation, which is associated with success in STEM activities. There are 2 of these. Which do you like more, Monument Valley 1 or 2? 2. Why 2? No, 1. Why? Why 1? And I like it. Okay. Is there a reason? Is it easier? Are there more levels, or is it prettier? What do you like more about it? Easier. Okay, so they made it a little harder with Monument Valley 2. No big deal, though.
Hey, I like that level.
You like the level that's displayed. Well, that makes sense. That's a pretty good level. Splitter Critters. Another puzzle game. I think, I'm not sure, like Monument Valley is like an Escher painting that you're inhabiting and trying to navigate. Splitter Critter is also all about moving the environment in order to solve the puzzle. So it does require some creativity and some geometry, perhaps. Bad Piggies from Rovio, makers of Angry Birds, which I didn't put on here because it's very much a popular game, but it is a puzzle game too. But the thing about these games that I don't really like from these big studios is that they often try to monetize elements of the game and have you pay for stuff. But actually, Bad Piggies isn't as blatant about that as Angry Birds, in my opinion. Woody, what do you like about this one? It's fun. Good. You're solving puzzles. You're moving. It's like Tetris, but the pieces aren't falling down from the sky.
They're coming up from the ground.
Birdcage. Philo, you've played this a lot. What's this game?
It's a puzzle game.
It's a puzzle game. What's your goal?
To unlock the cage.
Unlock the cage. Release the bird. Every cage has these different puzzles on them. There are no written instructions. You just kind of have to figure it out to get the key. And at first...
Sometimes there are written instructions.
Oh, there are written instructions. Okay, let's talk with our mouth closed. I mean, eat later. Plants vs. Zombies. Here we have the classic strategy game. It is not a puzzle game. We're moving on to strategy games. And I would say this is one of the most lasting games in our household. This is part 1. There's part 2. Which do you like more, 1 or 2?
No, there's 1, 2, and there's Hero.
And there's Heroes. Oh yeah, there's a third one. What do you like about this game? You put down plants, they kill the zombies. Part 2 and 3 start to get monetized a little bit more.
Every one of the plant things.
It's funny. It's a lighthearted, punny, funny, interesting, difficult game, and so highly recommended. Kingdom Rush. This is one we learned about recently from some new friends we made here in Singapore.
I'm sure you can turn off the blood.
There's Kingdom Rush and there's Kingdom Rush Origins. These are strategy games where it's like a tower defense game in a way, because these enemies are coming toward you and you're placing down little fighters that have different abilities, and you have to strategically place them. I think it is a very well-made game. I think you might like Origins, the second version of this game, better than the first one. Oh, I forgot to put Stick Wars on here. Hold on. Sorry. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Stick Wars. There's Stick Wars and there's Stick Wars Legacy. These are two different games.
No, Stick Wars stopped. They took it out.
Oh, so they only have Legacy now. Well, Legacy is very good. This is a strategy game. The bad guys are coming from the right. You have people on the left. There are sometimes zombies, different modes. Pretty exciting game. You might not think this is a learning game. Just like I said before, sometimes there are informal learning outcomes of certain types of games. This is one that I definitely think has an informal learning outcome of strategically placing pieces. Just like chess, you know, you're trying to solve a puzzle that's increasingly difficult depending on who you're playing against. In this case, it's not player versus player. It's player versus environment or bad guys. Oh yeah. So, but speaking of player versus player, Zuba, I wanted to bring up. Zuba is an excellent player versus player game. I wouldn't necessarily call this a learning game. This is more of Fortnite for kids in some ways. There are animals. You learn nothing about animals. Unlike, I didn't bring it up here, but there's a PBS series of games.
Pandas eat grass.
Pandas do eat grass in real life too. The PBS show is called Wild Kratts, and they've got a game too. And in both the game and the show, you learn a lot about animals. That is not Zuba. Zuba is just about running around and shooting and killing your enemies. I cannot make a strong argument that it's educational, but our kids will play the educational games to earn what we call half core time, depending on what the game is. Core time for us is doing actual math on paper, or reading novels, or writing in their journal. So they have to get 3 hours of core time a day in order to earn an hour of game time. Or they can do half core, and of course, you know, we do the math there in order to unlock. So in some ways, we have gamified our homeschooling. So I wanted to show you Zuba. I've lost my order here. What was I? So Zelda, I was gonna show you Brawl Stars. I think I lost Brawl Stars. But Brawl Stars is another one.
No, I saw one.
You saw Brawl Stars, but I closed it. Brawl Stars is another one that's very much like Zuba. It's pretty popular. It's on the App Store. Here we have Super Smash Brothers and Legend of Zelda games. And you've seen Minecraft up here. Obviously, large, popular entertainment games that I think actually all have some element that is very good for kids' brains if they play within reason. I think about gaming in the same way as I think about food. You have nutrition-heavy food. You have nutrition-light food, junk food, right? These games are not junk food. Zuba and Brawl Stars are the junkiest food of the diet that I just talked about. We do let the kids play some junkier games too, but we try not to. Those are the games we want them to go to because at least they don't have some elements of games you might be concerned about. I mean, they could be addictive. They're not very violent, though violence in games doesn't cause aggression for very long afterwards, and it has not been shown at all to cause violence. These games, though, I think do involve some thinking, even though they're mostly entertainment games. Involve some thinking that's good for you.
Can we go play video games?
Yes, that's a great way to end this video. So thanks for watching. I hope this was somewhat helpful to you as you figure out how to do this homeschooling thing with your elementary kids during coronavirus 19.